Hey, what's up guys? My name is Luke and welcome back to another episode of Techno Minute. In today's episode, I'm just going to be giving you some tips and tricks on iPhone editing to turn your photos from looking like this into looking like this. So, let's get started. Now, Polarr is my main go-to app when I edit photos on iOS. So, let's take a look at it. Alright, so once you're in Polarr, it's going to look something like this. Now, as you can see, I took this photo just a few months back in the summer, and there isn't a whole lot going on here. It's a very flat image, there isn't a lot of color or detail, so we're going to just do a few things to fix those things. Alright, so first off, you'll notice that there are some tabs here at the bottom, and what we want to start off with is this first tab right here. Now, if we scroll all the way to the left, what I immediately like to change are the highlights and the shadows. So we're going to go over here into light. We're going to scroll over to the right and we're going to click highlights, and we're just going to drag up the highlights a bit, and as you can see, we're starting to lose a lot of detail in the sky, so we don't want to do that. We actually want to drag it to the left and start to retain some of that detail. Now we're going to go in the shadows, and this will be a little bit easier to see in this instance. So we drag up the shadows, you're going to see that the grass all right here is a little bit brighter, and we're starting to get some more detail there. From here, let's head on over to the blacks. We're just going to bring these up just a tad, and for the whites, we're going to bring that down just a bit. Now already we fixed the photo, but there are some other options to do things. So let's head on over to contrast. Now what we want to do is we want to increase the contrast just a bit, and this is just going to make the whites whiter and the blacks blacker. From here, let's take a look at the brightness. This photo is a bit bright, so we can bring that down just a bit. There we go. And now we're starting to get a photo that looks a little bit better. Now the exposure we can change, but I think it's already pretty solid, so we'll just leave it like that. And so this photo looks pretty decent from what it was. We've added some contrast and we've got some more detail in the photo, but it's still lacking some color. So let's go and fix that. So if we head on over here to the color tab, we can change the temperature, tint, vibrance, or the saturation. I like to start out with the temperature. So the temperature, we're just going to drag this up, and if we drag it to the right, that makes it a bit more warm. If we drag it to the left, that makes it a little bit colder. And this situation, I'm going to leave it a little cold because I think that might be a little bit better for the color. Now we're going to increase the vibrance just a bit to get a little bit more color saturation in the grass and in the water. And then we're going to up the saturation a little bit more as well, because this will just do it at a higher contrast. Alright, so from there, that's already looking way better than what we started with, but there are still a few other things that we can do. So now let's go over to detail. Now if we go into detail, we can up the clarity. Now what clarity is going to do is just pull some color and some details out of the photo. So if we just up this just a little bit more, as you can see, we're starting to get some detail. If we go too far, we take too much detail. So I like to put it right around 20, 18, 17, right around there should be fine for this photo. We don't want to add too much because then you get too much grain in the photo. And if that's a look that you like, you can definitely do that. But for this one, we're going to leave it right around 18. Now next, what I like to do is move on over to the HSL tab, which I can't actually remember what it stands for. But what this does is basically lets you choose a specific color and changes that particular aspect of the color. So if we wanted to change the color of the aqua tones, all we would have to do is move this slider up and down. So if we want, so the aqua is going to be this blue in the sky. So as you can see, we're getting more of a purple hue here. If we move to the left, we're getting more of a green, a sea green, and considering this is the ocean, we're going to leave it right around there. Now we're going to pump up that saturation just a bit to get some more colors out of there, and then maybe we'll go up with the luminance. In this case, I think we'll just leave it where it's at because I think it's just fine. Now we can also change the blue hue, and here we go. We're going to have a little bit more control. It's pretty good right now, but we'll up the saturation. There we go. So now we're getting some nice blues in the sky and in the ocean. I think we're going to drag that down just a bit. So now we have a ton of detail in the clouds and a ton more detail in the ocean as well as color. And so that's already looking pretty solid, but there are still some things we can do additionally. So if we go over here to curves, we can change individual hues. So if we click the blue tab, we can drag this. Now this will change it for the entire photo, and we obviously don't want to do that. So what we want to do is hit the X button, and now we're going to add a point, and then we're going to add another point. Now if we drag this second point down a little bit, and we move this point over, we can control only certain aspects of that. We'll add another point while still remaining the detail. So if we just want the ocean to be this blue, we'll just add a curve point right here. And now we can change specifically the ocean, which I think to right around there is pretty good. Now the sky is going to be still that same color that we had it before, but we've already have a way better horizon line right here in terms of color, and the sky is differentiated from the ocean, which is what we're going after. Alrighty, so we can do the same thing for the red tone. So now if we want to do this, we'll add a few points here. I like to start out with 3. I'm just going to increase this. I don't think that's going to really work. Oh, actually, I'm going to get a really nice blue right there. So we'll move this back to equal. And in this case, we don't want the sky to turn that hue. So what we'll do is we'll add some more control points so that we get a really specific color here. There we go. So now we've got a really nice blue here. Just gonna pull it out just a little bit more. There we go. So the colors look pretty solid here, but we're gonna change a few things because as you can see right here, the purple is a bit much. So we wanna make sure we go ahead and fix that. So we're gonna head on over back to color and change the tint a bit. In blue, purple. Make it a little bit more blue. There we go. All right, so as you can see, what we've done is pretty good, but the purple tones in the water seem to be a little bit too strong. So we're gonna go back into the curves of the red, and we're just gonna draw that back just a tad to where it looks a little bit more natural. There we go. Now, we unfortunately can't have, there isn't another way to change specific colors here. We could draw it back here in the toning. There we go, that's a little bit better. And so for now, that looks pretty good from where we started. So now, in order to save this, all you want to do is press the export button here, and we have 3 options to choose from for the format: JPEG, PNG, and HEIF. We're gonna go with JPEG, choose the best quality, and we're gonna save as a copy because I don't like making edits to the original in case I want to change something up. So now let's take a look at how those compare. Alrighty, so as you can see, this is the photo that we started out with, and this is what we were able to edit in Polarr. Well, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It really helps out the channel. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out any more great content like this one. Seriously though, we are trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the month, so anything that you could do to help would be greatly appreciated. And as always, until next time, peace.